or like Amazon, like Prime, and suddenly I just got this like, well, actually maybe the internet just crashed. It's probably just the internet. Like, I just lost internet. I guess I'm just reading into it. It was just an internet outage, you know. It was just a standard internet outage. We're spoiled. Just wait until the zombie apocalypse. So anyway, here we are, you know, analyzing A5, dude. Sun Prism has serious issues if he thinks this is a good idea. I mean, it's aggressive and all, but you don't know, like, how bad your position is. I was talking shit about Orban? Never. He's the best prime minister. We have the best interest rates here. The real estate market is in good shape, Mr. Coffee. So, and I really love the KGB and Russian spies. No, but seriously, A5, bro, that's like you think you're better or something? You're about to get turned out here. Rook B1, Queen C7. A5 is a massive blunder. Black has B5 gone. B5 is gone, man. It's gone, bro. You're done. I mean, I guess you could consider like playing A4, but I don't see any reason to do that. I would just ignore it, you know. Like my dentist had on his how do you call like that, like tray, light tray thing the dentist has where his equipment is? There was a little sticker that said, ignore your teeth and they'll go away. A5, yeah. I don't have the best Hungarian internet company. There is a better one. Queen E2. So this feels like unnecessary. Why are you holding back with H4? Oh, you gotta protect the E5 pawn. Alright, yeah. Shit, we have to protect the E5 pawn. Well, you should talk to that guy who I unbanned today. There was that crazy Sun Prism game with the massive pin. So if he takes on E5, can you pin him with Bishop B4? No. Okay, we gotta protect this pawn. Maybe Rook B1 was unnecessary, bro. Let's talk about this for a second. Actually, yeah. No. You made a mistake here. His queen sucks. It's not helping him. It's in a bad position. Why are you attacking it? No, Morales made a mistake here with Rook B1. Pure extravagance. Rook B1 is not a bad move, but it's not necessary. And you're also encouraging your opponent to make a sensible move, which he needs to make anyway. Yeah. So you should play H4. Are we in the right position? Okay, black to move A5. Yeah, H4. Queen C7 only benefits black because at least he like put some pressure on your center now. You're attacking a piece that's in a bad position. You should have just punked him out with H4. This is unnecessary. It's still probably good, but now you need to take time to defend your E5 pawn. Right? Queen E2. And now, okay. Now you do H4. I mean, it's tempting to play like knight here, but... Wow, he just took the pawn. You greedy bastard. I did the same thing last week. I was hoping my opponent wouldn't take the pawn. Can you justify this? I think he was right to take it. I mean, it's a nice sort of speculative pawn sack. What? Wow. So after 95, rook e5. Can you just do like rook e5? And how far did you calculate this in advance? This looks unclear, but he can't castle kingside. There's a check here. That doesn't seem like a problem. Well, no, I mean, I'm thinking like, on paper, you're not up material, you're down material. But the first thing I look at is this. It's also possible you could play bishop f2 check. But look at your pieces. You have 5 pieces. You have 5 pieces in play against a guy who has like 2 pieces in play. That can't be bad, right? What's evaluation? Wow, rook e5 is a draw. It's a draw. Unbelievable. Wow. Rook takes, bishop f2, king f2, queen e5, and it's only equal. I think you're better there, but whatever. Okay. Takes, check, takes, check. Here, takes, check, here. Oh, that doesn't work, right? Okay, so where did this thing get out of control, Mouse? Right, like around here? You're talking about move 14. I'm talking about move 14. What's the single most important thing in chess? I mean in chess, in competitive chess. What's the single most important thing in competitive chess? Thanks. Aces are the best hand. No, I think like... I never said this before on the stream, so you can't like guess what I'm going to say. I didn't say principle, I said thing. Are you guys into S&M at all? Nedog? BDSM? I'm just checking after the Kevin Spacey thing. No, you know what I think? I'm serious. The most important thing in chess, torturing opponent. Okay, that's interesting. And it's close, and you're warm. You're warm. Chess Zebra is a natural pervert, but no, seriously, that's why you got divorced. No. We're close, you're warm. The single most important thing, and Karpov comes into this, dude, is to have control of the game. Right? I think that's what it's all about, you know. To have the upper hand all the time. And you can apply that in slightly different ways, you know. It can be Karpovian, like you're limiting the opponent, you're dominating him that way. It can be direct attack. King safety as a general principle is good, but you want to have control of the game. When the position becomes out of control, that's not good. You know, we don't want that to happen. We don't want that to happen. We want to be in control all the time, you know, to always be in control. And that's why Karpov is great, of course. There's different ways to be in control, you know. There's different ways to solve the problem of being in control, you know. But H4 looks good, but I mean, dude, it's not protected, so... I had a game in a very similar position where my opponent, like, castled kingside. Like, my game was something like H4, H5, and the guy, like, he hadn't played A5, but he, like, stunned me by castling kingside. Something like bishop G5, castle kingside. I almost shit my pants. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. He just castled kingside. And suddenly I realized, like, wow, my position isn't that great. I ended up like winning the game, but it was a blitz game, and I realized that wow, castles kingside. It's really hard. It was hard to do anything to the guy. His position was better than this because he hadn't played a5, so he had way more flexibility on the queen side, and I was really scrambling to try to find any kind of compensation for my like pawn down and bad structure. Mainly, I was like trying to get my queen to h5, to pick off that pawn and get some threats against his king. Queen h5. Right. So control. Yeah, I mean that's an argument for the g3 type of thing. Absolutely. Sun Prism is a great player. I mean, he's got a lot of arsenal in him. He seems really motivated. Great player, great potential, you know. Anyway, even I'm not a great player, but it's all relative anyway. You know, h4, I would have done the same thing, but he deserves credit for grabbing the pawn. I don't know if it works though. The dude plays on intuition, Antonio, you know. Like Arsenal fan, I compared them. Here you don't have to play queen g4 either. We're talking about control of the position. Like, are you obligated to play queen g4 to go for the material? Could you play another move like this? You're 2 pawns down. Wait a second. Can I be 2 pawns down and just keep the position under control? I would say no, except for the fact that he like screwed up his whole position with a5. You know, a5? Are you serious? So make a rational move for black. Look at that. You know, is that normal? So this is the whole thing about this Hector Gambit. I mean, I'm going to call it the Johnny Hector Gambit. Where is black's king going exactly? And that's the essential problem with the opening. Black doesn't have any safe place to put his king. And that's why you should play e4, e5 in the opening. Because it's the only way like you're guaranteed to castle kingside and have a safe kingside. You play the French, you have no space. If you play the Sicilian, your king is stuck in the middle. Anyway, interesting game. You know, I'm not gonna highlight like the crazy tactics or whatever, you know, where things got out of control and Rouse lost control of the situation, lost his queen, whatever. Okay, game over. Next. Okay, last game. We've got one of the most famous games of the 20th century. Rod Levy Rubinstein. 19... I don't remember. I want to say like 1907. Is it 1907? It's just pure luck if I can remember the exact year that this game was played. Oh, fuck. Damn. Saji, did my brain get eaten by a worm? The day after Christmas. It wasn't a coincidence. It's in there somewhere. So this was played in 1907. I was right. I thought I was going to be like, oh my god, 1911. So Rubinstein is black. One of my favorite players of all time. And I just want to say that it wasn't just Rubinstein. Like, the Tarash and the semi-Tarash were extremely popular in this period. It was like the early part of the 20th century, between like 1900 and 1915, 1920. Like, the Tarash and the queen pawn games were really becoming very trendy. It wasn't like everyone was playing, it wasn't like everybody was playing e4, like in the 1800s. d4 became like an explored opening, much more so. Many more games with d4. But the Tarrasch, playing actively with the Tarrasch, which was actually something of an obsession with Rubinstein. He later was put in a sanitarium, and I don't know the details that well. Rubinstein couldn't play chess after a point. He lived very long until the 50s, but he couldn't play chess after the 20s or early 30s, and basically I don't know, he was living in a sanitarium in Belgium or something. O'Kelly went and played some offhand games with him in it wasn't just World War I. Bye Uber Driver. It was World War I. He kept on after that, but then there was just problems, and then Jews were persecuted, and I mean then World War II was coming, so he was a mess, I guess, psychologically. I mean World War I was enough, but anyway, he was in Belgium. He still played games in the sanitarium against O'Kelly de Galway and other people too. But it's kind of sick if you think about it. The guy was literally alive into in the early 50s or something. He literally lived beyond World War II. It's kind of crazy. But okay. He was obsessed with the Tarrasch, and in fact, they say that Rubinstein became extremely obsessed with the symmetrical Queen's Gambit, was what I read. I mean, I don't think he wasn't raving crazy, I don't know what the deal was. Why he had to be in a sanitarium, it's not 100% clear to me. I never got the impression that he was a raving lunatic or something, You did not get that impression from what I've read. Maybe he was just sickly in general. All right. Anyway, he had a son. He had a family. He had a son who may be still alive. I don't know. Is he still alive? His son's still alive? God, I don't know. Probably not. But it's possible. Is it possible? No. Probably not. Okay, e3, c5, c4, knight c6, knight c3. Yeah, I don't think his son's still alive. Anyway, whatever. I'm losing track of reality. So, it's a semi-Tarrasch. And white plays d takes c5. Sam, his son. Yeah. I don't know how good he was. He was a master level player. You're talking about Rubinstein's son? Right? I think was a master level player. But not particularly strong. Okay. Knight f6, d takes c5. So, one interesting thing that you need to know, because I'm a huge fan of Rubinstein, is that he loved to play the white side of these openings, Rubinstein could play e4 and d4, but this is interesting because he's playing Rubinstein in his prime, and he also played white, but this move feels wrong. It feels real wrong. We're taking on c5 here, unprovoked. So, as we see in many other Rubinstein games, the main line is a3, a6. Here, Levy just takes on c5 unprovoked. This seems like a clear inaccuracy. Yeah, in those days, I can't imagine people who had mild schizophrenia or something like that would just be tossed into the sanitarium. But I mean, I don't think you're lightly throwing Rubinstein in the sanitarium. The guy was like a legendary chess player, one of the best in the world. You'd think he'd have some credibility. Maybe he wanted to be institutionalized. Maybe it was like voluntary. I don't know. Bishop takes c5. a3. So it's like a transpositional type of thing. So this is now, call it what you want. It is a Queen's Gambit accepted in reverse. We are now playing the white side of Queen's Gambit accepted down a tempo. A5 is a move, right? Oh, D4. You might want to talk to Uber driver about that. He specializes in chicken chess. I think he like secretly has like a chicken suit from Church's Fried Chicken left over from Larry Christensen. D4 bailing out, playing for the draw. Take care, actually, Chess Ibra, because D4 can lead to knight A4 and the loss of a pawn. Just you might want to consider the possibilities of knight A4. Are you sure you want to play D4 now? Because that could be like, bye-bye, Mr. D4 pawn. As Chess Ibra, Dr. Chess Ibra, they didn't take away your medical license, did they, with your divorce? I hope not. Oh, I hate playing that semi-tarish with like symmetrical. You're like John Eastman or whatever, trying to get your like law license back. But I was gonna say here. I mean, the aim of D4 would be to like equalize. You know, we're hoping to like equalize. But unfortunately, knight A4 can be an awkward awakening. Black played A6 for the win. So if you castle, white has B4. But I will teach you guys something that was, you know, known from Rubinstein's games. This knight is sometimes not well placed here. You know, ultimately, if you wanna, and I've studied all of Rubinstein's games, if you wanna play with the bishop on this diagonal, it's ideal to maybe have the bishop on b2 and the knight on d2, so the knight doesn't interfere with the bishop on b2. This is extremely important. The youngest son, he was a master of Brussels, and he isn't alive anymore. I was just thinking, like, I didn't know that Rubinstein had more than one child. I thought it was just the one. You said he was the youngest son, so there's multiple. But maybe he was the only one who played chess. So I wasn't aware of him having other children. I just found the whole story kind of sad that he went so long never playing chess in the last like 20 years of his life, outside of like, you know, some offhand games. Sanitarium nurse, Chess Ibra. We're learning more and more about Chess Ibra. We're wondering more and more. Question mark. A3, A6. Yeah, I don't know. So castles is really critical. Does white really want to play B4 ultimately? I'm actually surprised how few games there are here. Didishko Navarra. Oh, Miles Portish. I told you guys that, maybe you guys weren't watching, but 2 weeks ago I was in the supermarket down the street and Portish was there, and he looked really grumpy, you know, like Grumpy Cat or whatever. I was like, every time I see, you know, I'm just, first of all, I'm never sure it's Portish because he has a brother, and I don't know if he's still alive. His brother's still alive, but they look very similar. And I haven't seen Portish in like 12 years. Yeah, man, he was in the supermarket in the line behind me. And there's like, we're the only two people in the supermarket, and I was still like, he looked so pissed off that I was like afraid to like introduce myself. He just looked really grumpy. I was like, I'm not gonna be like reintroducing myself. We had a really nice conversation like 12 years ago, but you know, he might not remember me. He's like 87 years old. He looked pissed off. I was like, I'm not gonna like mess with this guy. Hey, I'm an international master, blah blah blah. And we talked 12 years ago. You know, I was like, whatever, I'll just leave him alone. I saw him getting into his Merc like 2 months ago. I think every time I see him, like a Portish sighting is like good luck. And every time I have a Portish sighting, something good happens that day. But anyway, Miles Portish, 1982. It just makes me feel better that he's still alive, because I know that I'm still alive. Alright, B4. No, seriously, the guy's really nice, but he looked really grumpy that day. He's also a musician, and he's a singer. He's an opera singer. And about 2 years ago, well, actually less, like a year and a half ago, he held a concert at the community center, like near where I live. There was a poster. I took a picture of it. I didn't go, but he's like, he was still giving a concert at age 86, like an opera concert. So the guy is just unbelievable, you know, unbelievable. It's not enough that he's like, was number 5 chess player in the world. He's still alive at 86. He's 87 now. He was giving a freaking opera concert. Okay, it was just at like a community center, but still. You know, he told me the story how when he went to San Antonio in 1972, Fischer was secretly there. Like, nobody knew except for Portish. Like, somehow Portish like saw him like in his disguise or whatever. No, he's 73. I don't remember. It was San Antonio 73. Uber driver remembers. I said the story before. Okay. Whatever, let's finish. So bishop b2, Castle's Grumpy Cat is playing black, and now that. I think he's done ice bathing. Well, dude, we have the best spas, like, in Hungary. No wonder he's still alive. He probably goes to, like, Széchenyi Furdo every... That's probably what's kept him alive till 87, honestly. 72. But that doesn't make sense. I thought it was after, like, Fischer had retired, dude. Okay, maybe. Queen d2 looks funky. Normally in the Queen's Gambit, you're putting your queen on c2, b3, or b1. Sorry, Queen's Gambit accepted. I don't remember a lot of cases where black is like placing their queen on d7 in a QGA. Hello? Well, it's definitely like best to put your queen on not the first rank. But I guess the bigger question is, why d2 and not c2 or e2 or 2d2? He ends up putting his queen on e2. Clearly a mistake, right? Obviously, you should have played queen e2. His bishop's in the way. Fuck. Yeah. So it's not so easy. You know, it's not easy. You can't have everything. This looks like a loss of time. Ultimately. Guess what? The main move is c takes d5. Yeah. Caruana Anand. Why not take? You know, take first. That was the mistake. But now he lost the tempo. Okay, maybe it's not the end of the world. Bishop e7, castles. And this is something that Rubinstein did frequently. That's the key. Whoever plays... Here, Black's getting in first. What happened here? Like, White lost the move. Black's getting 95 in first. And... it's embarrassing. Like, White's knight's on c3, blocking his bishop on b2. Now our bishop's open, dude. What happened here? What is White doing? So, boom, boom. And now, you know, Rubinstein, who's known as, like, really a great all-around player, but mostly for more or less positional play technique, plays a very tactical game. But he's provoked. White could have played, like, rationally here, maybe. What would you play? I don't know, rook c1? There's a threat, I guess, of bishop takes h2 check, followed by queen d6 check. So there's no time for rook c1. What do you guys think? Like rook f1, fd1 maybe? f3 and e4. I have my head examined. Have you been hanging out with RFK Jr.? Uber driver. I heard like Worms made him a libertarian, dude. Has part of your brain been eaten? f3 and e4. It's been known to happen. Think of it as a con Sicilian, right? Nothing bad could possibly happen on that diagonal. That's a nice diagonal. That diagonal. So White played f4. And when you play f4, the big risk is really this square, right? So theoretically, Black could play like bishop takes knight, bishop takes, stick the knight on e4, and the position is probably equal, right? Rubinstein's like, nah, I don't feel like cashing in today. I think we're gonna like play on a higher stakes table. Okay, bishop c7. So this was a provocative move, right? He could have cashed in and equalized, but he didn't want to give up his dark square bishop. You know, honestly, like, knight e4, bishop d4, probably. Maybe White is, like, actually better here. That bishop is, like, an immovable object. I guess you could play bishop e4, honestly. What would happen? Now we have bishop f6 there. Damn, bishop takes d3. I'm getting confused. Do you guys understand this? Bishop takes 7, bishop takes d8, bishop takes f1. Is this legal? Can I do this? King takes f1. Uber driver would like this position. This is totally up his alley. What do you think is the evaluation here, Uber driver? Can we get a poll? Uber driver, evaluation, please. Your favorite result. Anyway. Point 2. So bishop b6 is an idea. Could have gone bishop b8 to go to a7, but why block the rook? Here, here. That's ambitious. So the real question is, what was Levy like taking? Ask me, did they have mushrooms back in those days available in Europe? Why did the like psychedelic mushrooms only grow in like the Southwest? Why didn't they have peyote like in Central Europe? It's just the climate thing. But this is seriously instructive. I mean, Rob Levy was like... It looks like a Sicilian, you know, and white is like overly ambitious, right? Here. No, so what is black supposed to do? There's an argument for the h5, yes. An argument for this. There's an argument for passive. You know, earlier h5, like here, definitely. This is a great suggestion. No, there is, man. It's like a Sicilian. But what do you think white would play if you played h5? Can we get Mr. Coffee? Guys, can we get a survey? Survey says... Your mom. No, survey says h3. This... No, it would be h3. I think we're going to stop that. Ultimately, like h5... It's a possibility, but I think it can be addressed by h3. This is a really calm move, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's not even like the most dynamic. Let's see. Oh shit. Oh my god. Wow. I wonder if anybody has ever like in-depth analyzed this shit. Rook a c8 is the second best move. He missed knight h5. Damn, bro. I mean, Rubinstein gets a lot of credit for this game. But seriously, I had the feeling like there's something even more dynamic than rook c8. This feels too routine. Slaggy/intuition. Who needs knight g4? We have frickin' knight h5. What was her name? The Serbian chick? Maya something? Against Velimirovich, Mr. Slow? Maya would have found knight h5 here. Is that a real player? 24-17 woman I've never heard of? Yeah, Rubinstein not into knight h5. Like, he was more akin to knight g4, I think. Yeah, very principled player. Not necessarily, you know, tactical, oriented. But this, come on. Like, you got to do something here. And we're not going to play a passive move. So, this is very clear. You got this. You got this. No, I think he was fine. The f2 is weak. And now queen h4. Asterbate would have gotten that move. And now g3. And now spectacular combo. This is a really amazing combo. So if you're looking at the position, you're thinking like, okay, bishop takes e4, knight takes e4. How do we, you know, and it's like take out the defender. And then the point is, really beautiful move. Because the first thing is like looking at this, okay? That's not enough. This doesn't work at all. You gotta give him credit for the vision. That move, wow. When have you ever seen a game like someone played a move like that in a live over the board game or whatever? It's really elegant. I mean, I'm looking at rook h3, and it's it's refuted in multiple ways. I guess first thing you look at is bishop takes, right? Bishop takes, pawn takes. This is probably how you reach the conclusion, right? This is how he finds rook d2. I think it's a process, like takes, and you're looking at bishop e4 first. You're saying, okay, how can I get mate? I can play this, threatening mate in 1. It looks pretty good, but queen g2, right? And then you're like, okay, here, but queen g2. So how do we avoid that? Rook d2, queen d2, check, queen g2, and then rook h3. And you got the same mate in the corner. And that's one of the most elegant games ever played, literally. And the irony is that it's played by one of the most positionally like brilliant and endgame experts, greatest endgame experts of all time. But there is something that should be mentioned about Rubinstein that I think that people underestimate, and that thing is that this guy literally played the opening like he was fucking abducted by aliens, I mean, I think that a lot of people underestimate that. You hear about, Rubinstein is great in endgames, rook endgames, and Rubinstein is a great strategic player, all that crap. But if you really look at his games, you're like, this dude is like 100 years ahead of his time in terms of understanding the opening. Marshall wasn't close. Well, Marshall was a different style, but I don't think it's close. I think that Marshall played a lot of crap, dude. Rubinstein was like extremely correct in his handling of the opening. But I agree, like Marshall introduced a lot of ideas. But he also introduced some crappy ideas. Rubinstein didn't introduce crappy ideas, Uber Driver. He only introduced like absolutely correct ideas. And maybe Marshall was more prolific, but seriously. Marshall also introduced crappy ideas. For every brilliant idea he introduced some sort of dubious, crappy kind of thing. So it was like trial and error. But Rubinstein was like seriously abducted by aliens. Anyway, guys, great stream. Nice knowing you. It's late here. I gotta go. And we'll be back hopefully tomorrow. Or some more Blitz and Sunday Simul. Thanks everyone for supporting the stream. Thanks for keeping me alive. Peace. Turkey Farm, good to see you. Mr. Coffee, thanks for being here. Nedog, the awesomest backup mod. And Mr. Slow for your massive support of the stream. Thank you guys all. Also, I should mention, not in addition to Mr. Slow, we have a lot of support from other people as well, so appreciate that. Take care, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.